youth voting delegate for the Rocky Mountain Conference. As I boarded my plane for the week, I couldn't help but think, what have I gotten myself into? To be totally honest with you, I had no idea what my roles or responsibilities were going to be once I got to Synod. This ultimately led to a rocky start for the week ahead. Although the plane ride was beautiful, it was delayed by several hours. I started to miss my family, and I felt isolated in a place where I knew nothing, and the negatives just started to stack up. The check-in to the hotel was a success, however, dinner was a different story. When those of us that could gather for dinner, we discussed the agenda for the following days. 6 a.m. caucuses every morning, which is 4 a.m. here in Utah, and meetings and worships that went on until 10 p.m. every day. Just the thing I wanted to hear. As I headed to my room for the night, I decided that I wasn't going to let this dampen my outlook on the rest of the trip. Waking up in the morning and seeing the sun shine brightly over the amazing architecture of this city made for a sense of serenity and renewed my faith for the days to come. I got ready for the day and headed over to the city center just across the street. The first thing we had to do was check in with the registration table and get our badges and supplies. As I opened the door to the city center, I was shocked by the amount of people overwhelming the space. The diversity was beautiful and amazing beyond comprehension. Being here in the Midwest, you don't get to see that much variety in people. I made my way through the crowd and picked up my tags and bag. I walked around getting more familiar with the space until the opening worship began. 3 floors with at least 20 meeting halls and 2 ballrooms was mine to explore. I walked through the first and second floors, marveling in the beauty of the building in each of its rooms. The gold-colored chandeliers, Aztec-inspired patterns on the floor, and big wooden doors separating the rooms from the hallways were an absolute treat to look at. After exploring for a while, I headed up the escalator where we were all going to meet for opening worship. Once I reached the top floor, I couldn't believe the sight before me. A enormous room with thousands of chairs and thousands of people from all over were put together in front of the stage. The stage had colored lights, and a female visual artist stood off to the side painting as worship began. As we took our seats, I was beginning to feel overwhelmed by the spirit in the room. The opening ceremony featured many different cultures, languages, and people of the church in an inspiring and eye-opening way. Seeing all these believers in one place reveling in the spirit of Christ was transformative. As I looked at this week's scripture, I was unsure of how I was going to tie my experiences in with the topic for the week. For one, writing sermons does not run in the family. I know, shocker. I considered myself more of a storyteller rather than a preacher, but as I looked into the scripture and discussed with my dad the possibilities, I was soon to realize that what I wanted to share was rather simple. Today we heard the story of Naaman. Naaman was a highly respected man. He served as a commander in the army and was often praised for his valiant victories in the wars that he fought. In spite of this, Naaman had leprosy, and it was affecting him and his work. Because of this, Naaman's leader sent him to get cured of his disease. When he arrived at the place, he was told that he was to wash 7 times in the Jordan River, and that all of his issues surrounding his leprosy would be taken away. But Naaman was unsure about this, for Naaman had seen the Jordan River. It was dirty and shallow. The rivers that he had seen back home made the Jordan look poor and unfit to be the answer to his problems. I thought that he would surely come to me and stand and call the name of his Lord, his God, wave his hand over the spot, and cure me of my leprosy. He said, "Are not the rivers of Damascus better than the waters of Israel? Could I not wash in them and be cleansed?" Naaman's servant tried to reason with Naaman. He asked him, "Why would you not do what the prophet has told you? What he tells me you could do could cure you of your leprosy." After hearing his servant say such things, he decided that it wouldn't hurt to try. He headed into the Jordan and bathed himself 7 times as told, and his leprosy was cured. How many times have we found ourselves in Naaman's shoes? Unwilling to bathe in the Jordan because the waters were much more beautiful at home. How many times has the dark and dirty river stopped us from exploring the warmth of its water? How many times has the privilege blinded us from recognizing the beauty of these shallow waters? The answer for me is simple. Many times. Being a white person born into an accepting family accepting of differences definitely gave me a perspective on life that sometimes shielded me from the harsh realities of the world. However, I soon realized that understanding those other perspectives is one of the most important things we can do for people. As a young child, I experienced many of these harsh realities within my own family. the differences in my family that at times separated us. One side of my family was very heavily affected by their white privilege and that was at the top of a social pyramid. On the other hand, the other half of my family came from all different walks of life. I have a grandfather that is Hispanic, a stepfather that's African American, a father that's part of the LGBTQ+ community, and several of us that have struggled with mental health. Seeing both ends of this spectrum has opened my eyes to understanding the ideologies of both sides. Please allow me to elaborate on some of my personal experiences. Going to the grocery store, out to the gas station, grabbing dinner, or running other errands should never be something a family has to fear. But for mine, that wasn't always the case. Looks of discomfort were often given to my family when we were walking through the store with my stepdad. Sometimes we were scolded for my mother's choice to marry a black man. At other times, we were followed around stores with my Hispanic grandfather with eyes of distrust glued on us. And sometimes we felt scared to tell people that our own father was gay because we didn't want to feel outcasted or rejected. But because I've had to feel the pain that accompanies this unwelcomeness, it made it very difficult for me to understand how we can be blind to this type of injustice. After the synod, we were offered the chance to march at an interfaith rally on the ICE offices. I didn't know that much about the Sanctuary for All movement, but I felt in my heart that the separation of families and deportation was wrong and unjust. Because of that, I decided to embark on the journey and join the march. Once we got to the offices, we marched, chanted, and discussed our thoughts. Here was yet again another instance where seeing people of all ages, sexual identities, colors, sizes, and religions joining together amazed me. After doing this for nearly an hour, we headed into the street directly in front of the doors of the office building, and we joined together in prayer. As we were doing this, I looked up to the top floor windows of the building to see the kids peering out the windows into the crowds of people that were there for them. Some had tears in their eyes, and some had smiles on their faces. Seeing this absolutely broke my heart. Seeing what I was there for, literally seeing them, was indescribable. This experience at Synod was one of the most inspiring ones, but one of the most hardest to sit with. As I ask that we think of our own personal times where we felt outcasted or put into a box. How has this made us feel? Now I ask that we think of times when we were accepted and loved for who we are. Humanity, humans collectively being one. This is all that we want. So how are we going to get rid of the desensitivity that is plaguing our ability to be compassionate? How are we going to understand the judgments we create within ourselves? This is not a racial issue. This is not an LGBTQ+ issue. This is not a women's rights issue. This is a human issue. When transgenders cannot serve in the military, the U.S. is no longer the safe haven that it used to be, when women still struggle to be treated equal and racism still exists, we have not done enough collectively as humans to make America the safe and equal place that we claim that it is. But us as a church have a voice, and we simply cannot let it go silent. We have to stand for the underdog and love the broken. One night, after a long and stressful meeting, I felt lost and unsure. For those of you that don't know much about Synod, each of us that are voting delegates are split into groups and given a resolution or an issue that is brought up in the church, and we discuss what we think is best. Then we bring the resolution to the floor and it gets voted on. Some examples of these include how we can be more understanding of pastors that struggle with mental health, or how we can get the Latinx communities more involved, and so on. One in particular, however, was very hard for many of us to deal with. In the UCC, we have many different types of people in churches. One of the churches that is part of the UCC is called the Faithful and Welcoming Church. These churches preach much like we do. The only difference is they believe in traditional marriage. At Synod, each person or church involved in a resolution is allowed a table at the exhibition hall, where they can talk about whatever is on their hearts. Well, this church in particular was preaching on how sinful it was to be involved in an untraditional marriage or relationship, meaning man and man or woman and woman. And this caused an upset among many in the UCC, as most of us feel it is our duty to make sure that every person feels welcome in our churches. So because of this, the resolution was brought to the floor. The resolution was that whether or not we should take away their table in the exhibition hall. This caused a big issue in the discussion part of the voting process. One person after another spoke about their opinions on this resolution. One one LGBTQ plus person stood and said that although this deeply pained them, hearing them say these things at their table, they know what it felt like to be silenced, so they thought that it was unfair to take away their ability to speak in the exhibition hall. Some said that it wouldn't be taking away their voice, but it would be taking away their power to make others feel less than. Others said that Synod should be the one place where we always feel accepted and welcome. This was a big identity issue for the church. It really tested how much we believe our church's biggest statement. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. Someone said that they hold this statement true to their heart, but it does not give someone the right to make someone feel unwanted or left out. Conversation continued for a while before they had to cut the discussion and asked that we wait for the next day before we voted. There was an unsettling divide in the room, and everyone felt as if they were cut short or felt bad for those whose voices went unheard. I know I don't only speak for myself when I say that my heart was torn in two, and really it felt as if no one knew what they really wanted to do about this issue. Because of the seriousness of this matter, I decided that I needed to talk to the one person that could help me through this best. I picked up my phone and called my dad. I told my dad about what was going on, and he too felt unsure about the issue. But he reminded me of a sermon that he once gave in church. It was about being welcome. It was about being welcoming and what that truly means. He told me, feeling welcome is not something you can just say. It has to be accompanied by an action. Those words sunk deep in. I took what my father had to say, and I said a prayer to God to help us all figure this out without there being winners or losers. The next day, we all gathered at the floor, and we decided that this type of resolution was too big to discuss in the hour sessions that we were allowed. So the resolution got tabled, allowing there to be more time for conversation and careful deliberation. Spending my week at General Synod with people so willing to listen but so willing to speak inspired me to want to use my voice to tell you that to not let yours go unheard. We have to let the Spirit fill us so that we can be the person that God wants us to be. When God gives you the opportunity to bathe in a river and you aren't sure why, take the risk. Because being able to see what others see is key to understanding the love that God has for all of His children. So whether it be privilege blinding you or unwillingness to explore other perspectives, we have to remember that God does not always need the rivers to be beautiful and deep. He's much more simpler than that. He will give you the opportunity to understand much more if you are willing to step into the less favorable waters. Before I close, I just wanted to let you know that I bought some flyers and information sheets, some pictures of the rally and the visual artist's work, and I set them on the table over in the community house if you are interested in looking. I want to end today by saying, I cannot truly tell you guys how much this church means to me. Finding this church, becoming a member, joining the board, and then experiencing Synod has truly been one of the biggest blessings I could ask for. Our church is absolutely amazing. It challenges us each and every week to be more Christ-like in our everyday lives, and it helps us understand so many different perspectives. Our waters are also different, and stepping into each other's is one of our greatest strengths. I say these